What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we've got an episode of Chicago Bulls Weekly to provide to you guys as we discuss the previous week for the Chicago Bulls, discuss the awards and everything in between, and look forward to the upcoming week for the Bulls, as the schedule doesn't necessarily get easier for the Bulls, but at the same time it's definitely a very exciting week to look forward to as well, especially judging off how the Bulls have been playing overall. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls previous week, as well as upcoming week, as well as the awards as well. If you think I've got an award wrong or you like the awards I've been giving, feel free to let me know in the comments below. We're going to start off with the fact that the Bulls had a 3-1 overall week. It's been a while, and look, we've been winning a lot of games, to be fair, but it's been a while since I've been able to say the Bulls had a 3-1 week, and it's been filled with really good performances. It's been filled with stellar games by certain people, and this has been one of the funnest weeks I've had as a Chicago Bulls fan this season. It really has been like that. I've been waking up energized, ready to watch every Bulls game, excited to see what comes next. We started off the week terribly. We'll get to that later. But how we ended the week, I've never been more pumped right now this season to watch the Chicago Bulls, waking up and excited to watch the Bulls, watching the Bulls and making the game reactions. It's been a very, very pleasant and fun time to be a Chicago Bulls fan. But let's start off with the results. And obviously, we started the week off negatively. We've got a game to talk about against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was the second time we versed Cleveland off of a, I guess, not necessarily a back-to-back, but we versed them the game before, then we versed them again. And the second game against Cleveland, we lost in overtime 145 to 134. This is the game where Donovan Mitchell dropped 71 points and broke NBA history, at least modern NBA history, against the Chicago Bulls. And this game was really, really upsetting for a variety of reasons. One, in overtime we got embarrassed. Two, the officiating was absolutely horrible, and in the second half it really hurt and really made a difference to this team. And obviously three, we blew a 21 points lead from that game. So it was embarrassing. It was very, very difficult to, I guess, cope. You saw a couple of videos after that. I kept on talking about how bad the officiating was. I didn't really handle that loss very well. But at the same time, that loss, again, I'll say it now as well, that loss will be remembered in Chicago Bulls history forever. The next 10 years, on this day, Donovan Mitchell dropped 71 points. You're going to hear about it every single season for most of your life, pretty much, coming up. And it's not something I wanted to happen against this Bulls team. It won't be the first time. It probably won't be the last, knowing that this day's NBA, the NBA these days, the day and age of this game, and how offensive-minded stats are really just overtaking the league right now. But it was a really, really bad loss for a variety of reasons. But things picked up in the next game against the Brooklyn Nets. We won this game 121 to 112. This was a fairly healthy Brooklyn Nets team, and we did very well on the defensive end. Yes, Kevin Durant dropped 44 points, I believe, in this game. Kyrie Irving had 25 points in this game, but their role players were kept extremely quiet. It was basically, at least from the Brooklyn side of things, it would have felt like Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Seth Curry versus the Chicago Bulls, because we were so well constructed as a team that game. We played so well together. The ball movement was crazy. DeMar DeRozan, went crazy. Iwan Pat went crazy. Vooch with a fantastic game as well, when they didn't necessarily have, I guess, a strong enough sense of presence. And it just was a really, really well-rounded game. And it continued in the next game against the Philadelphia 76ers, where we won this game 126 to 112. No Joel Embiid this game, but the Bulls were back with their confidence, back with their ball movement, back with their style of play. Zach LaVine was incredible, and we had a very, very good game this time out as well. Again, those two games are definitely the talking points of the season for us, in my opinion. That style of play, I think, needs to be a consistent part of this team. And I really hope that they look back on these two games, the Brooklyn game and the Philadelphia game, and they say to themselves, this is how we need to play every single game. We might not be able to reach that benchmark every single game, But that has to be our consistent. That has to be our go-to that game against those two oppositions. And even without Joel Embiid, they're a dangerous team, and we've lost to them time after time after time with and without Joel Embiid. So all things considered, very, very happy we were able to beat the Philadelphia 76ers. Then off of a second night of a back-to-back, we faced the Utah Jazz. And oh boy, I thought we were going to lose that game towards the third quarter, but the late surge by the Bulls, the late surge by DeMar and Zach led us to a very, very good victory against the Utah Jazz as we won this game 126-118. Very, very happy with that performance, ladies and gentlemen. Very happy that with the lack of energy, the defensive struggles that we did face and everything in between, we still managed to find a way to win. These are the wins that, in my opinion, make a team a contender. I'm not saying we're a contender, but those types of wins, the second night of a back-to-back, when you're about to go out on the road, when you don't have that much left in the tank, when you're not playing at your best, you still manage to drop 126 points, and you still manage to leave that game with a win when all things were against you. Those are the type of games that make you contenders. And if only we had a better record, we might be able to say to ourselves, maybe we are contenders this season. But unfortunately, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're not contenders. I don't think we're supposed to be contenders, but at least now we're winning some basketball games. Now we turn into the award category for the Chicago Bulls. Again, the awards that we give out 4 awards this time around. Obviously, the must improve of the week, the sixth man of the week, the defensive player of the week, and the player of the week in general. We're going to start off with the must improve of the week, and I feel very sorry to give it to this player, but I have to give it to Andre Drummond. And the reason why is I think his stats have been very good for this week. Outside of maybe 1 or 2 games, and I think he should get more minutes for sure. But I feel like Billy Donovan doesn't like Andre Drummond and doesn't like playing Andre Drummond that much. And I think the reason why is because of his plus-minus and how when he is on the floor, somehow teams are managing to come back against the Chicago Bulls. I'm not blaming that all on Andre Drummond because I don't think that's very fair to do. There's a whole other 4 players there with Andre Drummond in the lineup. But I just believe because of that, he has to be the must improve because Billy is not trusting him at the moment. And don't be surprised, again, I'm getting ahead of myself here as well. Do not be surprised, whether we like it or not, do not be surprised if Andre Drummond gets traded away from this team eventually. Now, you might be saying I'm crazy, and you might be saying there's no way we would trade our backup center, we've been needing one for a long time now. But think about Andre Drummond's seasons in total since he's left Detroit. He's been traded 3 times, I believe. He's been traded from the obviously Detroit to the Cavs. I think he was traded from Philly to Brooklyn. I don't actually think he was traded a 3rd time. But again, he's been traded numerous times by NBA teams. So don't be surprised if we're the next one to just say, look, we need to go in a different direction. We need different players. Andre Drummond is a good trade asset to have. His contract is fairly, I guess, cheap for a lot of teams, and he's very, very capable. Don't be surprised, man. I don't want it to happen because I think we really need a backup center like Andre Drummond. I think he's one of the best in the league, but don't be surprised if the Bulls go in a different direction. I really hope that they don't, but yeah, don't be surprised whatsoever. The 6th man of the week, I'm going to give it to Coby White. I just feel like Coby White defensively and even offensively from time to time has been unbelievable for this Bulls team recently. Again, his stats show career lows in almost every other way, but he also has career low in minutes, which obviously affects his stats. But the minutes that he's playing, he's bringing effort, energy, defensive prowess, rebounding. He's been able to dribble very well. His playmaking has been okay. And in 1 or 2 quarters, his scoring is unbelievable as well per game. So, again, I just think he's been so well-rounded this week that it's hard not to give it to Coby White. Obviously, there are a couple of guys that have been out. Derrick Jones, I think, is very much in the same conversation. He could get the 6th man of the week for sure. But there have been so many guys that have been out for this team. Caruso, Javonte Green have been out. It's very, very hard to just, when those guys are out, because they're role players as well, it's very hard to just give the 6th man of the award to somebody else. So I would say it would go to Coby White. My defensive player of the week, this might shock a lot of people. Very, very similar to last week's defensive player of the week. I gave it to Zach LaVine. Now, I'm not giving it to Zach LaVine this week. I'm not giving it to DeMar this week, even though the first 2 games of the week, DeMar DeRozan was stellar on the defensive end. Maybe not the Cleveland game, but the 2 games after that, let's say. My defensive player of the week, is going to go to Nikola Vucevic. I believe out of the 3 games that we played out of 4, he's had 2 blocks in all those games. I think his rebounding, his defensive rebounding has been taken to an extra level this time around. And I really do think he's, I guess, taken it personally, and he's playing really, really well on the defensive end this week. I've been very, very happy with Nikola Vucevic. Offensively for sure, but defensively as well. Again, there might be some reasons why I'm giving it to Vucevic. Obviously, if Joel Embiid played against the Bulls, would he have had the best defensive week? Maybe not. But at the same time, a lot of the centers that he did play against, he limited their points as well. So again, I would give it to Nikola Vucevic. I think he's had a very stellar defensive week overall. My player of the week will go to Zach LaVine. Again, very well rounded, but he's erupted for points in the last 2 games. Against the Cavs, look, I can't remember much that he did, and I think both LaVine and DeMar DeRozan struggled in that game. But a game against the Philadelphia 76ers where he erupted, the game against Utah where he erupted as well. Again, when someone erupts like that, starts to get things going, taking more catch and shoots, it seems like the Bulls are trying to prioritize things a little bit more for him as well. And he's making the shots. He's smiling. He's playmaking. He's defending. He's doing everything that we need him to be as a max contract player in the last 2 games of this week. So he deserves the player of the week, but I want to talk about this in a month's time. I want to go a month into the future, into February, the All-Star break, let's say. And I want to say, man, Zach LaVine has really gotten that confidence up since January, and he's been balling out recently, and he's been very, very solid defensively, and he's gotten a lot of player of the weeks. I want to talk about this in a month's time and say Zach LaVine was fantastic, and he continues to be fantastic. 2 games is great. And overall, to be honest, the past, maybe from December, for the most part, his averages, thumbs up, has been very, very good. But consistency-wise, I'd love to see more consistency from Zach LaVine. I think that's the next step for him. Look, since that Minnesota game, I would say, he's been phenomenal in terms of his game. He's had a couple of, I guess, sporadic moments where he's been poor, but so far, I've been very, very impressed with Zach LaVine recently. Now we're going to look into the upcoming games, ladies and gentlemen. I believe we have 3 games to look forward to for the Chicago Bulls. Starting off with our first game against the Boston Celtics away from home. This game is going to be a tough one. They got Robert Williams back in the lineup, and that's obviously the player that they've been missing for their team for a long time. But Boston have been up and down recently. They've not been the #1 best team in the NBA in terms of their performances. I believe by record, they're still the top team in the NBA, but they've not been performing on a consistent level like that recently. So, again, I think this is a game where the Bulls should feel confident. We've already beat them twice. I think we have the formula to beat them. But at the same time, they're still a top team in the NBA. And if they show up on the right night, shooting is on tact and everything in between, this will be a very difficult game for the Bulls to overcome. We'll wait and see which Boston can end up showing up in this game. Hopefully it's the Boston that will, I guess, not be able to shoot effectively against this Bulls team, and we can capitalize on the other end. Then the next game is going to be against the Washington Wizards away from home. We versed Washington twice this season, beat them once, lost to them once as well. Obviously, again, don't want to put the refs on blast again, but the last call of the game was one where DeMar got fouled, and we could have won the second game against them, or the first game against them as well. That's very upsetting, but at the same time, we've seemed to do well with Washington. Let's see if we can continue and maybe beat them again. I think that's obviously what we need to do, aspire to do. And then we got the next game against the OKC Thunder at home. I think we versed OKC before, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm pretty sure we lost to them. Correct me if I'm wrong. I definitely remember versing OKC. Again, I can probably double check, but I'm fairly certain that we lost to the OKC Thunder. So, yes, we did. We lost 123 to 119 in overtime. Again, sorry for those who obviously knew that answer. But again, we have lost to them already this season. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, an all-star caliber player. That OKC team is a young, competitive, very hard team to beat. But at the same time, I do believe the Bulls are on another level. I think the Bulls are the favorites to win this game. And this is the typical game where you can see the Bulls fall to the opponent's level and end up losing. I don't want to see that happen, ladies and gentlemen. So the Bulls need to pick up a win. It's at our home as well. Gives us an extra advantage, and we'll wait and see what will happen. OKC's a tough side. I believe that. Especially with Shai. He's that guy right now. But I do believe we have the better team, so hopefully we are there to win that game. And that's all the games we've got to look forward to. The week after, we're going to be heading to France, ladies and gentlemen. Not me personally, but the Bulls are going to be going to France, I believe, or somewhere along those lines. Very, very soon, you will see the Bulls be able to play in France. It's going to be a very unique experience. Again, I don't think it doesn't affect me personally, but I think for the international game, having, I guess, people from across the world be able to go and see an NBA team, for those people in France, you've got a very, very good opportunity here to watch some NBA quality basketball, and I think it's going to be a hell of a game to watch. That will be against Detroit, but that's obviously not this week. Look, Bulls fans, Chicago Bulls, if you're listening to this, if you ever want to come down to Australia, come on over here, man. I'd love to watch the Chicago Bulls in Australia. I'm a bit greedy when I say that, but again, hey, look, if you're going to go places, why not come to Australia? Yes, I know it's like a 13-hour flight and whatnot. It doesn't matter. Just come over here, man. Let's give some Australians some love. Let's see if you could perform against, you could perform an NBA game, even if it's not like a I guess regular season game. Just come to Australia. Let's watch a Bulls game over here. You know, let's chill out in Australia. It's a nice place. Anyway, getting off topic, I'm going to end this video here. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in the next Chicago Bulls video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.